Hi, everyone.
I think we're live.
I think we're live. Hey, I hope you guys are out there, and we're going to get going here in just a few minutes. We're going to wait for a few more people to come on. My name is Kathy Cordell. We'll do a few more introductions when we get going here with our presentation. But my friend Keri over there and I are very, very happy to be with you today. All right. So Keri, do you have anything to say while we're waiting?
Sure. Hi. I am coming to you from Florida and I'm cold, and you probably want to hit me right now for saying that, but it's just very cold here today. But we are really happy to share with you this information as we go into the busy holiday season, or we might already be in that season, on how to help manage your emotions during this stressful time, or what could be stressful.
Right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and we're going to get going with our presentation. So we have on the other line Mandy Hepp, who is Melina's awesome right-hand person, and she's going to help us with questions. We're going to go through this information, and then we are going to, if we have time at the end, we are going to take questions. So just be writing down questions as we go, and we would be happy to answer those if we have some time. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started with this, managing emotional health and wellness through the use of essential oils. And as Keri just said, this is a really tough time. It's a hard season for a lot of people with Christmas. There's a time of loss. There's a time of grieving for some people. Also, just the stress and the hecticness of this season. And so we are definitely going to go through a lot of those options, and that happens all the time, right? But at Christmas, we really seem to have a lot of those issues that go on in our lives. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about who I am, Kathy Cordell from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and this is my beautiful family, my daughter, my son, my 2 grandkids, and my amazing husband, who is now almost full-time in the business with me, which is a lot of fun. I got started on my journey with essential oils through some physical issues that I was dealing with, but I found that essential oils don't have side effects, they have side benefits, which is awesome. So remember that when you're talking to people. And one of the side benefits that I realized when starting to use my oils was a balancing of my emotions, a balancing of my mood. Sometimes it's a balancing of my craziness, you know, and bringing myself into balance and focus. So it's been an amazing journey, not only physically, but also emotionally for me. And I'm super glad to bring this information to you. I do have a background in biochemistry. I'm a microbiologist, and I'm also a life coach. So I've worked both in the physical aspects and the emotional aspects of using essential oils, and doing my research has just been amazingly fantastic to solidify that this is what I want to do in my life. So Keri, who are you?
Yes, I am Keri Penaherrera, and this is my family, my husband and my 2 boys, both of which are diagnosed with autism and have their own individual diagnoses that often go along with that initial primary diagnosis of autism. I got started with oils, especially to help my kids. Like a lot of moms, that's usually our priority, is to help our children, and had no idea what these products would do for me. And so what has started as sort of a ministry to help special needs children has really turned into helping the family as a whole, and especially the caregivers that are often under that stress all the time, that fight or flight kind of thing. And so really reaching out to them, because if they can be the best version of themselves, then they can be a better caregiver for those precious little children. So that's where my passion stems from.
Yes, and you will notice there's some letters behind Keri's name as well. She is also a life coach. Yes. So she has worked in that emotional realm, not only with her kiddos, but also with adults as well. So we're never truly qualified until we start to use these essential oils on ourselves and have our own personal testimonies, and we both definitely do.
So yes, when you're using essential oils, and if you're on this call, we're going to pretty much assume that you want to be using products that are safe and effective for your body, as well as natural and pure. So when you're selecting your essential oils, you want to make sure that they are all of those things. So doTERRA has a certification called Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade, which means that it's going through strict third-party testing to ensure that your oils are completely pure and unadulterated, and that what you are putting in your body is not going to do more harm than good, because that is very important. So you want to make sure that you are not being stingy and buying cheap oils to save a buck and then doing something negative to your body in return.
Exactly. So if you just look at this list, sometimes it's really hard to manage or to even put a name on our emotion, to put a name on fear and what that's like. So if you're having trouble with that, it's kind of interesting just to pull up a list like this of names of emotions so that you can really identify what that is. But as you're looking through this, you're probably pointing at the screen maybe a little bit and saying, yep, that's me. Yep, that's me. Okay, got that one, and I'll probably have that one tomorrow. So the realization is that all of us have emotions. If we don't, there's something really, really sad and scary about that. But sometimes those emotions get really out of balance. And this is where our essential oils are going to come in. And I just love this little illustration to talk about your amazing nose, because this is where our emotions are managed through this olfactory bulb. When you smell in an essential oil, which is identified by the rose here, those aromatic substances, those compounds actually go in through those nasal passages, and then they touch on this olfactory bulb, which is attached to the limbic system in your brain. So these aromatic molecules, they stimulate your limbic system to release neurochemicals. And these are actually molecules of emotion. This nothingness of emotions literally becomes physical matter in the body simply through smelling an aromatic substance. And these substances, these molecules of emotions, they're stimulating, relaxing, uplifting, focusing, calming to the body. And they can, like I said, physically make up our chemical, what's going on in our body from a physical as well as an emotional perspective. So these are some of the essential oil effects in your brain. And this is a happy brain over here. He's getting several essential oils daily, probably. So these essential oils are really able to pass the blood-brain barrier and influence positive brain health. So what that means is the blood-brain barrier is a God-given barrier between your body and your brain, because if the molecules that go up, into our brain are too large, they're really going to gum up what's going on in the brain, and our synapses are not going to fire well, and all of those kind of things. So essential oil molecules are extremely small and actually can cross that blood-brain barrier to affect our mood and our emotions. So they support healthy brain function, they protect our neurons, they penetrate cell membranes, which is hugely important, not only from a brain perspective, but also at the cellular level in our body, which is an entirely different webinar. Hope to do that one sometime too. As a cellular biologist, I just love talking about how essential oils affect cells on the inside of your cell, which is amazingly fantastic. So they also protect against stress chemicals. I'm going to talk about that a lot here in just a couple of minutes. And they're also supportive to your neurotransmitter communications in the brain.
So when we're talking about applying essential oils for brain and emotional health, there's some few areas that are going to be very specific to do that. The bottom of the big toes is going to be the reflex point, if you are familiar with reflexology, that affects the brain. As well as when you're dealing with emotions, you want to look at pulse points. So think about where you would apply perfume on your wrists, over your heart, maybe behind your ears. Those pulse points are really going to help to affect on an emotional level. And the third location that I would point out would be the back of the neck at the brainstem, kind of where your spine goes up into your hairline, is really going to help with what Kathy was just referring to, with that blood-brain barrier, really helping to go and affect the brain from that location.
Okay, now I know there's a lot going on this slide, and I don't expect you to understand it. However, if you do want to come back and read through this slide a little bit more, I'm just going to kind of glance through it because this is like a doctoral thesis, kind of. But I just want to mention the HPA axis, and this is extremely important when we're talking about stress in the body. HPA stands for hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and your adrenal glands. And this is your fight or flight response right here. So when we have negative emotions, negative thoughts, stressful things are happening in our body, this happens on an ongoing basis. Stress is actually good for us, believe it or not, because it gets us into action really quickly to protect ourselves when we need to be protected. So if your child is going to put their hand on a hot stove, you jump into action immediately. This is your fight or flight response. When we feel like we are in danger, we need to step out of the way of a bus, you know, or something to protect us, that stress comes in immediately, and a lot of different things happen in the body. Your heart rate goes up, your eyes are more focused, you can hear better, your blood starts to race. We have insulin that is released immediately so that our muscles can go into tension and move. And those are all very good things to keep us away from harm. However, when these things are ongoing and we have that negative stress stuff going on all the time, what happens is that this HPA axis, which is releasing neurochemicals from the brain, from the hypothalamus, the CRH, drips down to the pituitary gland, which drips ACTH to the adrenal glands, which sit on the top of your kidneys, and then cortisol and adrenaline are released. And we're starting to realize that cortisol is a poison in the body when it becomes released all the time. So what is going to happen is this lady's gonna show up, right? She's crazy, she's nuts all the time. And what happens is these effects of our toxic thoughts and emotions start to have physical consequences in the body. And what we really want to do here is just open your eyes to, oh my gosh, I'm killing myself with stress. And what really can happen with stress, it affects your cardiovascular system, it affects the nervous system, the digestive system, which Keri's going to talk about a little bit later, and it, most importantly, maybe the immune system, because we can't fight off those diseases. So if you have stress all the time, if your kids are stressed all the time, you're going to be the first ones who are going to get sick. So you might not think of diabetes or cancer or asthma or allergies or any of these conditions, fibromyalgia, as being an immune system disorder, but they truly are at the cellular level because our immune system is not able to take care of the load that we put on it because of our stress and because of our emotions. So what we're going to work backwards now and talk about, okay, how can these emotional oils really help me now with my brain health and with my emotions so that these physical effects don't happen later? So here's the deal, guys. When you think negative, toxic thoughts, you are going to release those negative toxic chemicals into your body. More of that CRH, more of that ACTH, more of that cortisol, that adrenaline that in reality is making you sick. So when we start to think positive, life-giving thoughts, we release these positive, life-giving chemicals. Now, doesn't everybody want to lay in a hammock and have the bunnies underneath us? You know, this might be just a little bit over the top, but the truth is that we ourselves have the ability, yes, we do, to be able to think positively and affect our physical being. So one of the biggest ways to do that is to help work at the cellular level. Whenever anybody tells me anything, whether it's emotional or physical, I tell them about the Lifelong Vitality Pack. You guys, this stuff changed my life. It changed not only the inflammation response in my body. I had extreme discomfort in my body, but also my emotions were starting to spiral downward into depression, into feelings of negativity, and that is not me at all. And when I started to use my Lifelong Vitality, this more than anything else that I have used has helped me. So we have help at the cellular level so that the oils that we use topically and that we breathe in for an emotional response actually work better in the body when our cells are cleaned up and not as toxic. So I'm not going to go into this too much, but I just want to tell you, if you're not taking LLV, take your LLV. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And just as amazing for our children is giving them the exact same foundation. Now, they might not be able to take the Lifelong Vitality if they're old enough and they can swallow pills. Giving them a modified dose would be a great idea. But for our littles, we do have the children's line, which is fantastic. Giving them those things that they might not be getting from their everyday diets, the vitamins and minerals, as well as a cellular energy blend and a cognitive blend. As well, I said the superfood blend, to really give them those things that they're not eating. And the probiotics, we're going to get more into gut health in just a little bit, but the connection between what's going on in our digestive tract and what's going on in our brain and our emotions is very real. So populating their gut with good bacteria that can help fight off that bad junk, those toxins that Kathy's referring to, is very, very important. And then that little one in the middle, that IQ Mega, that's going to be your omega-3s. That's really going to help to support both brain health, cardiovascular, joint health, but really focusing today on the brain and the emotions. That's going to be a key for our little guys. So we are going to get into the brain gut right now. These fun facts, I found these extremely interesting, that neurological diseases affect an estimated 100 million Americans every year. And fact number 2, gastrointestinal diseases affect an estimated 60 to 70 million Americans every year. So there's definitely a correlation right there, as you can see in those numbers. What we take into our gut has a direct impact on what's going on in the brain, and vice versa. As Kathy was talking about, having those toxic thoughts can really affect what's going on in the body. And the more that we get stuck in those thoughts, we can make ourselves physically ill and feel sick. And then what we take in is going to affect our inflammatory response and have an effect on our brain as well. So our digestive system has a direct impact on neurological health. 95% of the body's serotonin is actually found in our bowels. So our serotonin, that's our feel-good hormone. And if 95% of that is in our bowels and we're not treating our digestive system in the best way possible, of course, that's going to affect our brain and our emotions, therefore. So also the intestinal lining contains approximately 100 million neurons, which is more than what's in the spinal cord and the peripheral nervous system. And we actually will see that they refer to our gut as the second brain because of those neurotransmitters down there. So what does that mean? We need to support our gut in order to support our brain. And thankfully, doTERRA has created these supplements that would help us to do that. If we're taking in junk, we're going to get junk out. And, we're not all perfect. None of us are perfect. And so that's what's really great about having supplementation that can really help to offset what we're doing to our bodies on a daily basis. We're not going to go into each of these individually, but just know that we have enzymes to break down foods that are hard to digest, and things for detoxing and probiotics, as well as things to deal with our discomfort when we don't make the best choices. So there's a whole line for that.
I would imagine that a lot of people that are listening right now thought, well, I want to hear about the emotions oils. But the truth is when our emotions oils are going to work much better, like Keri just said, when we work on these issues of cellular health and intestinal health. And guess what the next one is? Sleep. because how many of you get grumpy when you don't sleep well, right? I mean, it's just, and when your kids don't sleep well, they're grumpy in the morning. So it is super important to be able to get a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And I know some of you are rolling your eyes right now, some of you with little kiddos, and those of you who've had maybe insomnia for years. But I am telling you, this Serenity Complex is stinking amazing. I'm just telling you, it is so, so good. So I love taking my Restful Complex at night. Sometimes I just need to take one. And sometimes if I really feel like my brain chatter is really high, I use 2 of these Serenity Complex, the soft gels. And then I also use Serenity and On Guard together in my diffuser every night. It's just an amazing combination. And then I have a combination that I use on my feet called the Hammer. And I've made that sleep blend up together. But one of the cool things about the Serenity soft gels is that they have something in it called L-theanine. And L-theanine is a natural amino acid that increases the body's own melatonin. And this is what's so important. If you have issues with sleep, I suggest that you do not take an outside source of melatonin, but that you naturally try to increase your own melatonin, because that's the melatonin that's going to work the best for you. So keep that in mind. Sleep is super important, guys, for not being grumpy. Now we're going to start into our amazing emotions oils with doTERRA. And I love that they have given us these options to be able to deal with these conditions when we're just feeling sad, when we're feeling down, or when we're feeling like our wheels are going to fly off. We have many, many different options that we can use. So we've got the emotions wheel on the left side. As you see, these are all of our emotions oils that motivate, the cheer, the passion, the forgive, the console, and the peace. And there are these 6 different categories of oils: the mints, the citruses, spices, herbs, trees, and florals. And each one of these oils is a combination of 2 of these categories of oils, and they work differently for different emotions in the body. And then we have our 4 basics that were the 4 emotions oils before the emotions oils kit ever came into existence. And this is Serenity, Citrus Bliss, Balance, and Elevation. And when you look at these 4 quadrants, it totally makes sense. So when you're feeling no peace and you're fatigued, wow, where are you going to turn? Serenity. And then balance might be a good option as well. So really keeping this kind of quadrant model before you and this circle model before you is going to tell you which essential oils are going to be good for you to use. So this set of oils comes in the roller balls to use topically. They're already pre-diluted. Also super good to use on your kiddos. And Keri's going to tell you about some more here in just a few minutes. If you're going to diffuse the oils primarily, you're going to want to get the 5 ml bottles. If you're going to use them topically, the touch oils are going to be super good for that. I suggest you get both, because then you're going to get the benefit of everything there. I am going to go through a couple of slides that are, or Keri, are you going to do these? You're going to do these, right?
This is you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I'll just keep going then. Okay. So I'm going to do these really quick, and what we suggest is that if you need to write these down, please come back and just go back. Obviously, this is going to be live and up, so you can go back and look at these a little bit better. But these are emotions or essential oils to uplift the mood. On the top, I've got the single oils there, and on the bottom, you're going to see those wonderful blends that doTERRA puts together: Elevation, Citrus Bliss, and Cheer. And you'll see they're all in yellow bottles. So that means they're uplifting, they're invigorating, like your lemon, like your citruses. But also look at these other options: your omega-3 fatty acids, which we're going to get in the E-omegas, your lifelong vitality pack, children's vitamins and probiotics, because it is important to have that serotonin in the gut that Keri talked about earlier. All right, now we've got essential oils that are going to calm worry. And Keri, my screen is, oh, there we go. Never mind. Yeah, my screen's kind of going wonky. So can you go through these, Keri?
Sure. So these are oils that are going to calm worry and anxious feelings. So we're thinking more about those calming, the florals, the peace, console, serenity again, balance, very grounding. Copaiba is one that we're going to talk about in a little while, and how much that oil has changed a lot of people's repertoires. And then you can see some of the singles at the top. Of course, doTERRA is taking those and putting them into these blends that make them so much more convenient for us, or we can create our own blends with those singles, that the oils that speak to each other, to ourselves.
Oh, and look what's in the lower left-hand corner.
Lifelong vitality.
All right, so oils to fight stress. And remember the lady, you know, from our earlier screen. Oh my gosh, you guys, these oils, remember to use them. So that's the big thing. Use your oils. So when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling worried, you know, when your wheels are flying off, remember to use your oils. This is super important. Carry them with you all the time. Look on the left there, Lifelong Vitality and Probiotics. You've got your singles here that are super good to fight stress. And also these amazing emotions oils that doTERRA has given us. Again, back of the neck, over the heart, and the pulse points. And then aromatically are the best way to use your emotions oils. And focus and attention. I love this Calm the Squirrel blend. It's so amazing. I talked to a man yesterday with adult ADHD, and he is so hungry to really start using these oils to finally have focus in his life after really dealing with this for 52 years. And he's becoming a business builder too. So these are amazing ways for us to be able to not only help people from an emotional perspective, but also really financially help them get their oils for free when you're talking about these oils. So the PB Assist Junior, keep that gut brain health going. We've got your singles here, and then those amazing blends as well.
And then we have the kids collection. So this is brand new, just came out at convention, and we have been getting amazing feedback on these 6 blends that were formulated specifically for children. However, they are fine for anybody to use. In fact, I have 2 of them sitting right here. I'm using our Brave and our Thinker, you know, just so that I could hopefully form a sentence for you guys.
Adults can use these too?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool.
So if you go to that next slide, we'll look at exactly what that means. These are what each of these blends are doing, but kids love them, and so do we. They have a little bit less of an intense aroma. So if you do have a child that has an aversion to strong scents, these are going to be perfect for them. And they give us the same chemistry that you're going to get from the adult versions of these oils. So we have Stronger, which is going to help support the immune system. Brave, which is going to help with lack of confidence and just really giving them some confidence when they're scared or afraid of something, that maybe a project that they're doing at school. And then there's Thinker, which is our focus blend for children. And Steady, which is going to be their grounding blend. It's going to help to calm them down, especially if they're overstimulated or just upset about something. Calmer, which is great for helping with sleep, but also when they're just fussy or agitated, it's really become what we call our meltdown blend in this house. And then Rescuer, which is going to be similar to the Deep Blue and really help with feelings of discomfort and tension and achiness as our kids are growing. So if you go to that next slide, we'll see how these compare to our adult versions. Again, as adults, we can use either, and with our children, you can dilute the adult versions for them as well. But these kids' versions are just so convenient, and they love them, and they love being empowered to make decisions for themselves. They come with those cute little carabiners, so they feel like they have their own little oil set that they can go around with. So you could see right there how Thinker compares to Intune, Steady to Balance. We already said Rescuer with Deep Blue. Brave is like Motivate, Calmer is like Serenity, and Stronger is the children's On Guard. So same effect, different oils, but they are perfectly diluted for them, and they smell amazing. They really do.
They do it. What I like about it is they've really created them to be scents that kids are going to love, like Fruity Pebbles. You know, I mean, they really have these amazing scents that kids are really drawn to. Like, I think Steady smells like Green Apple Jolly Ranchers. Rescuer has, instead of having the peppermint in it, it has spearmint. And so it's just a super nice, calmer scent. So what I am finding too is that if people are going to work and using their essential oils, if they have anybody who's maybe, you know, sensitive to them or whatever, these are a more of a muted aroma, still as effective for those areas that we want to use them for, but maybe much more friendly to the person in the next cubicle who doesn't understand how amazing essential oils are. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
And I also say for children that have special needs, that if they have an aversion to smell, I always tell parents to just put the oils on their feet. Like we talked about the big toe being the reflex point for the brain. I used to go into my kids' rooms before they fell in love with oils as much as I do. I used to go in and put them on their feet before they wake up in the morning, and I'd put their socks right on over, and they knew no different. So sometimes we have to be a little sneaky, but we get it in them either way. So this slide is really great for those that are special needs parents or caregivers that want to help their children, or even an adult with special needs. These are going to be really helpful for the system. So if we start over on the left with neurological support, we have DDR Prime, which is now available in a 15 ml bottle. Yay. So it makes it a lot more affordable for our families. That is our cellular complex. That's what's really going to help to get those cells firing correctly, communicating correctly with each other in the brain. We see a lot of changes in our kids when we first start with that. Diluted, please dilute DDR Prime. Really should be diluting all of them, but that is one for sure that needs to be diluted. Frankincense is really going to help support a proper inflammatory response. Very good for neurological health and support. And copaiba, we teased on before, we're going to get back to, is it helps to stimulate the endocannabinoid system in the brain. So that word has got a lot of hype these days, very similar to the effects that you're going to get from a medical marijuana or a CBD oil, but it is THC free. It's not going to show up on a drug test, and the effects are so much more than what you're seeing in the news with those other oils. It's really going to be great for those that are struggling with nervous system issues, emotional support. We did hear a study about war veterans and what they deal with, and that has been very helpful for them. As an adult, if you're dealing with feelings of anxiousness, especially caregivers do deal with that as well, taking a couple drops under the tongue is very effective. For my little ones, we again are just doing big toes and back of the neck. Then we go into our mood and sensory support. Bergamot is going to be really good for calming anxiousness, especially associated with obsessions, repetitive behavior type things. Balance is going to be really grounding. It's going to help with children that have self-stimulatory behaviors. That's really going to help to calm that down. Peace is just our emotion oil. That's going to really help with feelings of anxiousness. And then focus, we talked about Intune, as well as the kids blend we just spoke about with Thinker is also going to be great. And then vetiver is really good. Vetiver is kind of unique. It's calming, but because it calms down the system, it really does help to assist with focus. But it can also, as you see up in the right, help with rest because it is calming to the body as well. And then our choice for sleep is cedarwood with a combination with wild orange. So cedarwood helps to support the body's production of its own melatonin, and wild orange helps to really quiet the brain chatter. So those two are really good. I do like to make a point that some children struggle with lavender causing a reverse reaction where they do get a little bit of restlessness. So that's why you don't see Serenity on here for sleep. Some children it's great with. So again, sometimes you have to try and see what works best for your child's system. But our choice is cedarwood and wild orange. And I do think that that is one of the best choices for children with special needs. So I know there's a lot of information on that slide.
Yeah. Again, this is a completely other webinar, which Keri actually has done several webinars on special needs families, for special needs families. And she is amazing, one of the amazing leaders on my team that has really took the time to figure out, how does this work for my family? And I think that that is what is so important. And that's what a lot of people don't want to do. And so they say, just give my kid a pill. And Keri has decided that's not an option for us. And many of the people that Keri work with, it's not an option for them. And so I just really love and appreciate that, you know, Keri has wanted to figure this out and is helping many, many families in doing that. I have a friend who has dealt with anxiousness a lot in her life. She takes a drop of copaiba and a drop of frankincense under her tongue twice a day. And it's amazing the difference in her. She has really felt it. She is also a leader on my team now too. And because of having this amazing, you know, less anxiousness in her life, she's able to go out and tell people about the essential oils. So really amazing stuff we have on our hands here. And for me, I mean, it was Deep Blue for me. This is the one that put me over the edge. And this is also the man's gateway oil, just so you know. So if you have a guy who's a little like, yeah, I don't know about those essential oil things, give him a tube of Deep Blue and he'll be on board for sure. But this one, when I had all that discomfort in my body, to the point where it was hard for me to roll over in bed, you know, and just do daily normal tasks like put away dishes. The essential, I knew how to take a pill, right? So I had been doing that a lot in my life. So I started to take the Lifelong Vitality Pack, and in 3 days, I was starting to get my life back. But it's when I started to add the Deep Blue in to my achy, and can we put achy times 10 muscles and joints, that it really, really started to go, okay, now I need to look into the chemistry of this and see what's going on in my body. So please use your Deep Blue products. Deep Blue polyphenols are an internal supplement that I take every day to promote a proper inflammatory response in the body. Just amazing products.
Yeah, and for me, more of my focus was on immune support. I do struggle with some issues that plague my immune system, and by supporting them with the On Guard products, it has really helped. And I know that both Kathy talking about Deep Blue and me talking about On Guard, you're saying, what does this have to do with emotions? But when you feel, for lack of a better word, crappy, you knew where I was going. When you feel crappy physically, you're going to feel crappy emotionally. Come on, I mean, it's a cycle. And then when you feel crappy emotionally, your body follows. And so we get in this cycle where we feel sick, and so we feel achy and we feel tired, and then it just keeps going. So kind of trying to break that cycle by supporting our immune system to make ourselves feel healthier, and then we're going to feel better emotionally as well. So what I love about the On Guard line is that you're able to really eliminate the toxins from your environment as best as we can. I mean, we live in a toxic world, but for what I can control in my home, this is what I'm going to do. So by bringing in the green products, the laundry detergent, the soaps, the toothpaste, which is one of our best products or the most popular products, and the On Guard soft gels has really been a lifesaver many times in my home to really help fight off anything that's starting to come against my immune system, to really give myself that extra boost so that I can fight that off, has been amazing.
Yeah, I believe that the On Guard soft gels are kind of the stepchild in the doTERRA On Guard line. And every home in America needs to have those doTERRA, the soft gels on hand for those times when you feel like you've been exposed or you feel like something might be coming on. This might not be something you're going to take every day as a supplement, and probably you shouldn't actually. However, when you need it, it is important. It's kind of like you never want to run out of toilet paper, right? Well, you never want to run out of On Guard soft gels either. So make sure that you have some of those in your cabinet. So your emotions literally do, this is so important to realize that your emotions really literally do become physical matter in your body. And this physical matter will either stimulate wellness, bringing life to the body, or it's going to bring toxicity. So those negative emotions, those stressful times. And this is what's going to invite that illness, and is going to damage your body. So what doTERRA helps us do is it works on a wellness concept that works on the body, mind, the spirit, and the emotions. And if we do not feed all 4 of these parts of who we are, something's going to be out of whack. So we can't say, oh, I'm just having emotions. I'm just hormonal today. Deal with it, right? Deal with it with you. We can't use that as an excuse anymore. So no more excuses. We have essential oils to be able to use to help us through those times. So these essential oils, you guys, they work with the mind, body, and spirit to calm and to create an environment for positive, clear thinking. We still have to act on that positive, clear thinking and do the right thing and say the right thing and have the correct emotions, say the right words. Oh, hello, did I just say something there? Right? So having positive emotions is going to help us say the right words that are going to keep ourselves in check so that we don't hurt other people too. And this environment that we are creating allows us to hear truth and really step into that person that we were created to be. And this is what is so important, that essential oils can help us do that. So here's just a few action steps. You may have written some down as you were listening to this. If you don't have your emotions oils, or if you do, then put them on your next LRP. Whether it's the touch kit, whether it's a couple of the 5 ml bottles, just start putting those on your LRP until you get all of them into your home, because you will use all of these and they're so amazing. If you do have your emotions oils, oh my goodness, use them. Don't forget that you have these emotions oils to use. And then I would suggest that you reach out to a special needs family. You have gotten some amazing information from Keri today, that you would reach out to a special needs family and that you would share this knowledge. I believe that when we get this knowledge, we have the responsibility to share it. We don't just sit on it, because we can literally change people's lives. Another action step that I don't have on here is, if you're not on LLV, get on LLV. You will see huge difference physically and emotionally when we start taking LLV. Keri, do you have any other action steps?
No, but we do have a question I'd like to address from
Cool,
Meredith.
let's do it. Yeah.
Meredith wants to know how much you dilute DDR prime in a roller for kids and how much for adults. I do have a chart that I'm going to post in the comments when we're done with this call that will help you with that, because it really is kind of based on age, because you definitely don't want to give, say, a 2-year-old the same as an adult. For adults, DDR prime does come in soft gels, so that's a great convenient way to do it. If you have the oil, you can make your own with veggie caps and just put the oil into the caps. I believe, is it 2 drops that's in a soft gel?
I think there's 5 drops. It's a lot.
Okay, we'll post that as well. We do have a graphic with how many drops are in each of the supplements that we can share as well. But you're definitely going to want to base it on the size of your child. So I will post that chart so that you can see that.
Absolutely. So we've had a lot of fun sharing this information with you, and believe me, we could be here for a couple more hours because we just love talking about this stuff. But we hope that we've just given you a tip of the iceberg here to really, whet your appetite for how you can manage your emotions with essential oils. It really does work. I guarantee you this. It's an amazing change in your life.
Absolutely.
Yes. So we thank you so much for being here. And I know Amanda's on the other line. I don't know if there's any other questions that are out there.
I've kind of been looking. I don't see anything else at this time. I think we're good.
Okay.
But if you have any questions, feel free to post them and we'll get back to you, because I know there's not a lot of people that are able to watch live. So we'll be able to answer those throughout the day. And if you want to contact Kathy or I, we're both on Facebook. I do have my webinar on special needs on my Facebook group, Drops of Hope. If you know anybody that would need that information, it is there.
Exactly. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Amanda, for walking us through this. And we thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.